By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are back in Munich, Germany for the Alpha 40 League finals. And in the finals we've got Anthony versus Guillaume. And I believe Guillaume is sitting on the left. He's playing a red and green Channel Fireball deck. And Channel Fireball is in the Alpha 40 League also restricted. But of course, if you only play 40 cards, there's a much bigger chance of finding Channel and finding the Fireball you need to win the game. And he's taking on Anthony. We saw Anthony already in the semifinals. He won that match. Thus, he is now in the finals. And he's playing a Goblins deck. And of course, also a Goblins deck with a lot of Orcs, like Orcish Artillery is in there, for example, as well. And of course, the Goblin King, remember, it pumps itself. I mean, that's so cool in Alpha. But before I jump into the deck text of both of these decks, I've got lovely deck photos. First, I'd like to tell you something about my Patreon page. Hi, me hearties. If you would like to support the show, you can become a patron at patreon.com/TimmyTalks. We have 3 different patron levels. You can join as an apprentice for just $1 a month. And this will give you access to the Timmy Talks Discord, and you can join in on all the Timmy Talks online tournaments, such as the Color Clash and the Reprint Masters. You can also become a supporter at the Sorcerer level for just $2 a month. When you are a sorcerer, your name will be mentioned in the end scroll, and if you want, you can play a game against, well, me. But there is more. If you become a supporter at the pirate level, we can even make an episode together. Aye! Haha! You can also choose to pay annually for a 10% discount. So what are you waiting for, me hearty? Visit patreon.com/TimmyTalks and join the Timmy Talks crew. Arrgh! And we are back and ready to dive into the deck text. I'm going to start with the deck of the player on the left, that is Guillaume. Let's take a look at his Channel Fireball list. And here we see the deck of Guillaume. And when we're looking at this deck, I mean, it's a combination, right, of 2 strategies. Of course, we have Channel Fireball. That's his win con, right? He wants to find Channel, find Fireball, win the game. That's obvious. But he's also playing a Panza strategy, meaning a land destruction strategy, playing 3 Ice Storms and 3 Stone Rains. And he's playing 5 Llanowar Elves. So I think what he wants to do is turn 1 Llanowar Elf, turn 2 destroy some lands, turn 3 maybe destroy some lands. Also he's got some Ices to tap down lands, tap down creatures, kind of hold up the game. He's got a single Nevinyrral's Disc to blow up everything if it really is turning sideways. And then of course, eventually he wants to find his Fireball, he wants to find his Channel or his Disintegrate, playing a single Disintegrate in the deck as well, and then win the game. So how does Channel work again? Well, with Channel, it's 2 green for a sorcery that lets you trade your lives for mana. So 1 life equals 1 mana. You can do that the entire turn. So if you play it your first main phase, for the rest of your turn, you can use life in exchange for mana, right? So if you're, for example, on 18 and your opponent is on 17 because you played a lightning bolt on him or her, then you can play your Fireball for 1 red, pay 17 life, do a Fireball for 17, kill your opponent, and of course, you've got 1 life left because, you know, you played 17 life, you were on 18, that's how you win the game. Can you still follow me? Anyway, Channel Fireball, everybody knows Channel Fireball. Why am I explaining Channel Fireball? I'm so incredibly sorry. Of course, you know Channel Fireball, especially when you're checking out videos on the Timmy Talks channel. So anyway, this is the deck of Guillaume. Now let's take a look at the deck of his opponent. And here we see the deck of Anthony, and I think I already said this in the previous episode, the semifinals, where we of course saw this deck of Anthony in action as well. This is for me really like an OG Alpha deck, you know, because in Alpha, you look at the original wording on the cards, and that means that in some cases you get really wacky results. And I think Goblin Balloon Brigade is a really nice example of that, because with Goblin Balloon Brigade in Alpha, you pay 1 red, 1 single red mana, and all your goblins gain flying, which is super cool. And of course, when you look at the creature type of Goblin King, for example, it's a summoned Goblin King, so it's also a goblin, so your Goblin Balloon Brigade can also give your Goblin King flying. Plus, the Goblin King also pumps itself, because again, check the wording. So it's a 3/3 for 3 that gives all the other goblins +1/+1 as well, and Mountain Walk. It's so incredibly good in Alpha, and I love that. I love that cards in different formats have different homes. And talking about cards that can find a home in the Alpha 40 League format is, of course, also Orcish Oriflame. Orcish Oriflame 1 red and 1 for an enchantment that gives all attacking creatures +1/+0. This is a card that should have been 2. It should have been 2. They never should have changed it back to 1 red and 3. I think that's just too bad. 1 red and 1 would be perfect. Also, it kind of aligns with other pump anthem effects that the colors have, like Sunken City, like Crusade. The 1 red and 1 is also 2 mana to cast. It makes way more sense than 1 red and 3. Anyway, I know I'm complaining, but I would just wish that this card would be just 1 red and 1, also in beta, also in unlimited, also in revised, also in all the reprints that came after. Would have made the card way more interesting and way more playable. Now we also have Orcish Artillery, and Orcish Artillery, of course, is also ridiculously cheap in the alpha format. Only 1 red and 1 for this 1/3 creature that you can tap to deal 2 damage to any target, but also 3 damage to yourself. Now, I think this card was really an MVP in the previous match against White Weenie. It's not going to be as useful in this matchup, although still quite useful maybe to kill those Llanowar Elves on the side of Guillaume. But I do think that, the Orcish Artillery was much better in the previous matchup, right, against the Mono White. Against Mono White, it was really a showstopper. But here, it's still good. It's a good card. But I don't think it's going to be as decisive. Then when we're looking at the rest of the deck, right, we see some Black Vices. They could be useful here, I guess. I mean, Guillaume is playing a little bit more control-ish if you compare it to the White Weenie player that Anthony was facing in the previous match. But still, I think, the Vices, they're just not all that great. Of course, you want to draw them early in the game so they can kind of function as an extra lightning bolt. I get that. They can still be good, of course. Anyway, this is the deck of Anthony. We looked at the deck of Guillaume, and that means we are ready. Let's go to the finals here in Munich. Game number 1 of the finals is about to start here. It's Guillaume on the play, sitting on the left, playing Channel Fireball, a red and green deck, also with a lot of land destruction. Starting with a duel here into Llanowar Elves, passing the turn to Anthony. Anthony playing a Mono Red Goblins. Starting with a Mountain Lightning Bolt, a Bolt the Elf, passing the turn. So trying to slow Guillaume down here a little bit. There we see a Forest into another Llanowar and a pass. Untap of the Mountain. There's not another Bolt. Oh, there is a Bolt though. Both players playing pretty fast. There was an Orcish Artillery by Anthony being bolted down by Guillaume. Guillaume finding a Soul Ring here. Are we going to see a Stone Ray now? Probably, yep. Land's already moving towards the graveyard, and also the attack with the Llanowar Elves. Anthony dropping to 19 here in the finals. Game number 1 of the Alpha 40 League here in Munich, Germany. There we see a Goblin King. It's a 2/2, but remember, it gives itself +1/+1, so it's actually a 3/3, and it gives itself Mountain Walk. Are we going to see a Disintegrate here on the King? We are. So the King is going to die, removed from the game, of course, as well. And another attack with the Elves, Anthony dropping to 18. And there's another King and a Mountain passing the turn. And is that another Stone Rain? Not quite sure. Ooh, it's an Earth Elemental, 4/5 creature, absolutely powerhouse. And no attacker with the Goblin King. Gonna keep it on blocking duty. Could have attacked because it has Mountain Walk, so it's unblockable. There we see another Llanowar Elves. It's going to tap some more mana here. Ooh, there's an Icy Manipulator. You can use the Icy, tap down the King, attack for 4, or just attack, of course. He is going to tap down the King here. And passes the turn. Is not attacking. Oh, or already passed the turn probably, and wanted to tap it down in the turn of Anthony here. Yeah, both players playing quite fast, so trying to keep up with them. And there we see another Stone Rain. Of course, Stone Rain not as good anymore with all the lands on the side of Anthony here. Guillaume attacking for 5. It is looking quite good for Guillaume here with that Earth Elemental and also that Icy Manipulator. Anthony already on 13. Tapping down the Goblin King again, of course, of Anthony. Anthony only 2 cards in hand. I guess not good ones because he's just passing the turn here. Another Llanowar Elves there in hand. He's going to attack now for 6, I believe. Anthony dropping to 7. Yeah, 7. And I think this first game is going to be over soon. There we see another Llanowar Elves. There's another Stone Ray. No cards anymore in hand for Guillaume. And I believe 3 cards now in hand. There is an Orcish Artillery, so that could be useful. There's a card drawn here. I wonder what that is. Gonna tap down, win the game. Of course, can tap down the only blocker here of Anthony. Winning game 1 here for Guillaume. That went pretty fast, gentlemen. So game 1 here going to Guillaume. Now both players are going to shuffle their deck, and we will catch back up with them in game number 2. Game number 2. Here we go. Anthony, of course, on the play after losing that first one. Good opening for him, though. Vice, it's kind of like a free bolt. And the Guillaume dropping to 17. There's a lot of where else for him. Passes the turn. Let's see what Anthony can do. Can we see an Orcish Artillery, for example? Finding a Mockstar Goblin King. Very strong opening again. Passing the turn. 2 more damage for Guillaume. Dropping to 15. Guillaume, of course, a game ahead. So almost the winner here. Just needs one more game to be the champion. Here in Munich, there's another Llanowar Elves and a pass turn. So no land destruction. That's unexpected here. Looking at the list of Guillaume, you would definitely expect an Ice Storm or a Stone Rain here. Didn't happen. And now, of course, Anthony, if he wants to, could just attack for 3. Could put him on 12. Because remember, the Goblin King gives itself Mountain Walk as well. There's an Orcish Oriflamme attacking for 4 here. Look at that. Anthony already on 11. His life total almost halved. Goblin King hitting the board. Now remember, Goblin Balloon Brigade, Goblin Balloon Brigade can give all the goblins flying for just 1 red. There's another mountain. Okay, there is a well-needed Lightning Bolt. Taking care of the king. Gonna tap 4 more. There's an Icy Manipulator. Ooh, so it's getting more complicated now for Anthony. He can still attack for 2, at least 1 more turn. Put him on 8. Gonna tap 2 red. There's another Oriflamme. Okay, so he can attack for 3 here. Gonna put Guillaume on 7. So yes, he's low, but now we get the control game going by Guillaume with that Icy Manipulator. Also has an Ice Storm there. Could take care of the duel, I guess. Gonna tap 4 first. Has a better option. Yeah, this is a way better option. And he's gonna attack for 1. First point of damage for Anthony. Gonna drop to 19. And then, of course, he's gonna tap down the Balloon Brigade. Makes absolute sense. And Anthony, I think he just needs to find burn. And there is a Fireball there in hand. Can Fireball for 3. Can put him on 4. Could also, of course, consider taking down both of the elves. And, of course, he's not going to put him on 3. He's going to put him on 4. Well, now he can Fireball for 4. I would go on the player, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. Put him on 3. So he just needs a bolt here to finish the game. Or, of course, another Fireball. So needs the right cards from the top here. There's a Stone Rain here on the duel. Gonna attack with 2 here, and Anthony dropping to 17. Gonna tap down the Brigade, of course. Another creature could also help him. There's the Bolt. Yep, winning a game number 2. Yeah, the moment he could actually do the Fireball for 4 instead of 3, that was a big change, because that means you go from 7 to 3 instead of 7 to 4. And 7 to 3, of course, means you're in bolt range. That was very important for Anthony here. Anthony winning the second game 1-1. That means we're going to an all-decisive game number 3 here in the finals in Munich, Germany. Game number 3. Here we go with, of course, Guillaume on the play after losing that second game. 1-1 here in the finals. Who's going to crown himself the champion here? Will it be Guillaume on the left or Anthony on the right? Anthony starting here with a Vice again. Guillaume taking a hit of 3, dropping to 17. Ooh, no forests here for Guillaume. That is not great. Let's see what Anthony can do. Remember, in the Alpha 40 League, you cannot just take a mulligan. There are strict rules for when you can and when you can't take a mulligan. So it's not like, oh, I don't have green mana, I'm going to take a mull here. Does have a lot of red cards in hand, though. But of course, his deck wants to have a forest turn 1 and a Llanowar Elves, and that's not the case. But okay, let's see what Anthony can do. Finding a second mountain. Are we going to see an artillery? Seems to be a little in the tank here. I wonder what options he has. Can also play, of course, an Oriflamme. It's another option. It's another 2 costing card in his deck. Ideally, you just want to play out some creatures, right? And put some pressure on. And this is the first time here in this final match that we see one of the players really taking a moment, thinking about what to do. Does have a Balloon Brigade there in hand, dropping the Brigade, passing the turn. So I guess he picked the Balloon Brigade up from the top. There's a quick bolt though, killing the Brigade. Another mountain, tapping 3. Are we going to see a Stone Rain? Stone Rain taking care of the mountain here of Anthony. Anthony having 1 mountain left. Of course, also had to take some damage from the Vice. Guillaume dropping to 15 because of that Vice damage. Okay, this is really good, that Mox Ruby. If he has a king, he could play it out now. There we go. There's the Goblin King. 3/3 creature hitting the board. More damage for Guillaume still from that Black Vice. Going to take another point of damage. Going to drop to 14. So that single Vice has dealt 6 points of damage here in the finals. There's a lot of where else finally Guillaume is finding a forest and also a Stone Rain. taking care of the duel. There's a pass. Does he have another mountain here to play another Goblin King? Yes, he does. Wow, this is wild. Attacking with a 4-4. Bad news for Guillaume. Unblockable as well. Dropping to 10 here. It's looking bad for Guillaume because now the Goblin Kings are out of Lightning Bolt range. Is, of course, playing with lots of Fireballs. Has a channel in hand, but he's too low. He's on 10. Anthony's still on 20. Another mountain. Gonna tap. 3, it seems. 4, it seems. Okay, there's an Icy Manipulator, so could at least tap down one of the 2 kings. That's something. Gonna tap down the Goblin King on the right there. But, of course, Anthony can still attack with the other king, and he can put Guillaume here on 6. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad for Guillaume. Not dead yet, but only has a couple more turns. Has to find answers to those Goblin Kings. A Fireball would be a great start. Then at least he can take care of one of the 2 kings. And again, Anthony kind of in the tank here, playing a Orcish Oriflame. So attacking for 5, meaning that Guillaume has to find an answer here to one of the 2 kings or he's dead. Can he find an answer? Yep, he can find an answer. Fireball. Good news for Guillaume. And now Guillaume can, of course, tap down the king in the turn of Anthony, meaning he stays alive here for now at least. He's on 5. What are we going to see? Another mountain there in hand for Anthony. The other 2 cards I can't really see. Just need some more creatures, right? To just put some pressure on the life total of Guillaume. Going to tap 2. Are we going to see an artillery here? That'll be quite good. No, we're going to see Chaos Orb. Could, of course, flip here. Flip in the finals. That will be awesome. Are we going to see a flip? I mean, I would activate it now. Exactly, because Guillaume is tapped out. It's going to flip here on the Icy Manipulator. Flip in the finals. Very important flip here. Is Anthony going to hit? He is going to hit. Well done, Anthony. A lot of pressure on that flip. He made it look easy, but trust me, you've got your nerves going through your body when you're playing a finals and you have this decisive, important flip. We do see a Disintegrate here in hand for Guillaume, so he can take care exactly of the Goblin King. That's unfortunate for Anthony. Good news for Guillaume, though. And finally, Guillaume managed to deal a single point of damage here to Anthony, dropping to 19. And we see Guillaume here on 5. Gonna tap 3 more. There's another Vice and an Artillery. Emptied his hand, and I think Guillaume can now take over the game here. I believe I saw an Earth Elemental in hand. There's the Earth Elemental. 4-5 Powerhouse. Another Llanowar passing the turn. Wow, Guillaume is back. He is back and still on 5, which is very decent. There's a Balloon Brigade, though. Ooh. That is risky with double artillery. Could attack for 3 if Guillaume cannot take care of this threat. Let's see what he can do. He's going to attack first for 6. Anthony probably just going to take the damage. Will drop to 13. And then we see another Llanowar. Good news for Anthony here. No answer to the Balloon Brigade. So could attack for 3. Put him on 2. Can he then finish it again with a Lightning Bolt? Oh, we get a Lightning Bolt! Ho ho! So winning game 2, winning game 3 with that decisive Lightning Bolt. Yeah, to some people, Lightning Bolt is the best card in the game, you know, and you can understand why if you see the Lightning Bolts in action here. Very, very important cards here. The MVP for Anthony. Anthony, congratulations. You are the winner of the Alpha 40 League here in Munich. Well done. And actually, we are not finished, so stick around because I'm actually going to show you some bonus footage. Ah, I see that you stuck around. That is very clever because I've got a bonus match for you, a pretty cool one. This is actually the match they played for spot number 3, so it was going to be the 3rd of the tournament. So both these decks made it to the semifinals, lost their semifinal match, and now they're going to battle it out for that 3rd spot. So we've got Christian, who's on mono green, versus Matthias, who's on white weenie. So I think this is a pretty cool matchup. So you know what? Let's just quickly go to game number 1. Game number 1, here we go. Ooh, look at Matthias go on turn 1. Mox Pearl, Plains into double creatures. Savannah Lions, Annabelle Hero, and Chris is playing a Llanowar Elves here turn 1. Really nice to see a mono green deck in action here as well. Looking forward to see what it can do. Not much at this point though. Crusade, great start for Matthias. Chris dropping to 15. And what can Chris do here? Finding another Forest. There's a Juggernaut in hand, Giant Grove, Berserk, and there's a Wooden Sphere. So Wooden Sphere is quite cool. The way these Lucky Charms work in Alpha is pretty awesome because every time you cast a green spell in this case, you can pay 1 to gain a life, and you can do that multiple times. So off of one green spell, if you've got enough mana, you can just get tons of life. But for now, Chris is really under pressure. And it looks like Matthias wants to attack in a band here, probably thinking about a potential Giant Growth that he can run into. But remember, Chris also has a Swords, or Matthias also has a Swords to Plowshares in hand, so I don't think he has to worry too much. I wonder if we're going to see a Giant Growth here. Blockers declared, there's the Giant Growth, and now we're probably going to see an exactly Swords to Plowshares in response. So the Llanowar is going to die here. And that means he's still taking a damage here from the Benalish hero. Blockers already declared, of course. And I believe you still gain 4 life here. So it's going to take 2 points of damage gained for. He would be on 17. There's another Benalish hero. The reason for that, by the way, is that in Alpha you don't have the stack yet. And here we see a Llanowar Elf. So he could potentially tap 2 mana here to gain 2 life. To go back up again to, I believe, 19, although I'm not quite sure what his life total is. Yeah, to go back up to 19. But the problem here for Chris remains, I mean, look at all those creatures that he has to face. 2 Benalish heroes and a Savannah Alliance, all having that pump effect, of course, from the Crusade. He's going to play an attack in a band here. So that means 7 more damage than Matthias would drop to 12. And he also has a disenchant here. Oh, there the wooden sphere goes. That is too bad. It was so nice to see it in action. But it is destroyed. Does have the mana here to play a Juggernaut. That can at least be a useful blocker. Also, the disenchant is now out of the way. So I can at least, kill one of the creatures on the side of Matthias. Matthias now attacking in a huge band. Yeah, kind of has to block here. Ooh, he's not actually going to drop to 5. Going to go fully on the Berserk plan. There's another Plains. Does he have another Berserk? Then he could deal 20, but even then he couldn't win because Matthias, of course, can jump here with the White Knight. Was hoping to find another Berserk, I feel. Okay, there's the Regrowth. Getting back the Giant Growth. Regrowth into Giant Growth. That kind of sounds nice. There's the attack here. And I think Matthias isn't going to block. Yeah, of course he's going to block. For a moment there, I thought he wasn't because he did a thumbs up. But he's going to block with the White Knight. And are we going to see... Yep, they're probably also going to see the Berserk here. At least he gets to deal a lot of damage. He's not going to win this first game, but he gets to deal a lot of damage. Or not. No response here from Matthias. Chris kind of waiting for a potential response. No Swords to Plowshares or Disenchant here, it seems. Of course, doesn't have the mana to play a Disenchant, by the way, so only Swords could kind of save him here. But, I mean, look, Matthias on 20, this really doesn't matter that much. Look, he's getting 16, going to end up on 4. No harm done here. And, of course, he blocked here, so he's actually only going to take 14 points of damage. He's going to end up on 6, I believe. Doing the math at the moment. Okay, 7. Oh, of course, you got the Crusade. Forgot about the Crusade. Yeah, so then you end up on 7, of course. My bad. And there's the Script Sprites and the Pass. Gonna attack separately and has to jump here on the line. Gonna take 4. Gonna drop to 1. There's another White Knight and another Benalish hero passing the turn. There's another one. That means Matthias winning here in game number 1. And yeah, I think really that Berserk moment was, was the only out here that Chris had, but needed a second Berserk, wasn't there. So Matthias here winning the first game, and now we're going to go to game number 2. Game number 2, here we go. So Chris on the play after losing that first game. And yeah, I have to say Matthias' deck was looking mighty powerful there in that first match. The first game, I should say. Let's see what Chris can do. Llanowar Elves here, turn 1. It's a good opener for him. Again, finding the Mox for some quick mana, so kind of having the same opening. Oh, actually a little bit different. Not going for 2 creatures, this time going for Savannah Alliance and Swords to Plowshares. Chris going up to 21. And yeah, that's already tough here. There we do see a Script Sprites and another Script Sprites for Chris, also having a double spell for him, but then in turn 2. He had his mana advantage for Matthias, I think is huge here early in the game. There's a White Knight, there's a Benalish, not attacking with the line though. I would have considered kind of making the trade. Then again, if he attacks here with 2, right, you can just attack with everything else. And I guess that's exactly what's going to happen here. Double attack with the Script Sprites. It's going to drop to 18. There's a nice storm here taking care of the planes here for Matthias. There's a pass. I don't think it's going to hurt Matthias too much though. Has another crusade in hand. Exactly, there's a crusade. Also has a white knight in hand. Attacking here for 8 in total. Yeah, it's looking very bad for Chris. I mean, Chris, I hope you're going to find some good stuff, because I really want to see a good game too, but this is really tough. I mean, Matthias is just drawing the nuts here. There's another attack for 2. There's another Strip Sprites. And remember, one of the cards in Chris's hand, I believe, is a Hurricane, so that's like absolutely useless, because he's got 3 Strip Sprites himself. There's another Plains. I mean, he can attack for 8 here. That would put Chris, what, on 4? He's already on 12? Yeah, this could be a very quick match. There's the attack. Can he do something? Does he have, for example, a Giant Growth? At least I can kill one of the 2 creatures, for example, the White Knight. Do you have a Giant Growth here? I hope he does. And at least he can do something back. I guess he doesn't. Takes the damage. Drops to 5. So I guess he was on 13, not on 12. It's going to drop to 5 life. Oh, it's so bad. Another creature hitting the board. Another White Knight for Matthias. Looking great for Matthias. Not so great for Chris here. Game number 2. Battling it out for the 3rd place. In Dutch, you would call it the Troostfinale. Not really know what the correct word for that is in English. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below. There's the attack. Alpha Strike here. Yeah, has to block almost all of it not to die. Double Giant Growth, though. That's pretty decent. Those Giant Growths are doing some work. Killing 2 creatures, only taking 2 points of damage, dropping to 3. There's another White Knight, though. Matthias just keeps finding creatures here. Chris is really on the back foot. What can he do? Remember, one of those 2 cards is a Hurricane, which is completely useless. He is going to attack for 2 here. Going to put Matthias, yeah, and then playing the Hurricane just for funsies. I get it. Just unfortunately for Chris, nothing he could have done different in my opinion. Just not finding the right draws, and Matthias just drawing pure firepower. But this is it, Matthias winning that match and getting finishing on spot number 3. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I would also like to thank the Alpha 40 crew in Munich for sending me their matches, and of course for all the players showing their skills here on the video. Thank you so much. I love looking at Alpha 40 matches. The cards are just so beautiful. So thank you for sending the stuff out to me. I really appreciate it. Special thanks for Franz for hitting me up on Instagram. Thank you, my man. And whenever you have more tournaments and more matches like this, feel free to send me more stuff. Like I said, I love Alpha 40. I hope you did as well, by the way. Before you go, please take a moment to like, comment, and share on this video. All these things are free and really help the channel moving forward. Talking about moving forward, you can also become a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks for all the information.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Put him in the scout to the husband's son, he'll put him in the scout to the husband's son, he'll put him in the scout to the husband's son, he'll early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises. Early in the morning.
Icketus, ficketus, sumba, kazee.